Good morning. Happy Monday. I have Neuro Coffee in hand and it is perfect as usual. We have a very busy week this week, so I'm going to dig right into today's Q&A that comes from Alan, and Alan's asking a pretty common question of late. A lot of folks are moving into this virtual online realm of training and coaching, and so there's a lot of questions as to how this should be done. And so Alan asks, what advice can you give me on what online assessments I should use? And so right away, Alan, your question infers a couple of things. Number one, that you're seeing the online situation as significantly different, and I realize that the constraints are a little bit different than the in-person interaction. So I understand that part, but from an assessment standpoint, what we're not looking at is a cookbook situation of, if this, then that. And I think that goes for any assessment, whether you're doing it in person or whether we're doing it virtually. And so what we may actually have then is a gap in understanding or a gap in knowledge that is presenting a limitation as to where you feel most successful or most safe. And so what we need to then fall back on is a process that is based on what you know or what you think you know and the experience that you bring into that situation. So step one under these circumstances is being aware of your own capabilities. So this is somewhat painful at times in regards to actually sitting down and spending time in your own head and understanding what your capabilities truly are in regard to what type of a client where you feel the greatest level of success and confidence. And this is where your energy should be focused. So if I was to give a wild example, a general surgeon does not perform brain surgery because that is a very specific set of skills, and so he does not take on those patients that would have a brain-related issue that would require surgery. And so again, it's like, do you have an experience that lends itself towards a specific type of client? And right away, your confidence will improve, and then the questions that you ask become much more easily answered or the riddles solved. And so again, this is also the first step of marketing. So if you have a specific clientele where you feel this great level of confidence, this allows you to refine your message. So regardless of the type of marketing that you do, whether it be through social media, messaging, or email, or traditional methods, the goal is to always attract one specific type of client that you feel the greatest level of confidence in working with. And so again, this is a really, really big deal. So again, I think that a lot of people are trying to maybe overstep their bounds or don't recognize that they're overstepping their bounds when they're trying to attract certain types of people, because they say, I want to work with everybody, when the reality is you should probably just stay in your wheelhouse and then be infinitely successful with that group of people, and you'll get more of those people. Now, if you are young in the industry and you say, I just don't have the confidence to work in this environment, or I don't have the confidence to work with any specific clientele, then you have just identified where you need to go. You need to take part in some form of an internship or a mentor-mentee relationship or an apprenticeship where you can safely gain the experience that you need to work with any client on any level. And so we can move to a step two then, that is based off this first step of being aware of what your capabilities are, is only work with those types of clients that you have this great level of confidence. So again, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to know yourself. Because of my physical therapy background, because I've been doing this for more than 30 years, I tend to get a very complex type of client that has an extensive medical history, maybe multiple surgeries or multiple movement-related problems and painful conditions and such. And so I have sort of earned to work with that type of a clientele. And so if you're unsure as to what type of an assessment you should be using, then perhaps you should work with those clients that don't have any significant history that might interfere with their fitness program. And so right away, you've just simplified your process. So you need the minimum of any form of assessment beyond their ability to execute some of the most basic of exercises. And so again, you have to identify your capabilities. You have to have some level of self-awareness. Now, let's just say that you're presented with a situation that you might not be comfortable with or qualified for. What should you do? Well, this is where referring out to someone that might be more qualified is actually a great move on multiple levels. Number one, you develop a relationship with somebody that may have experience that you can gain from them, and you develop that relationship such that now they would refer back to you when they have a client that they consider like, oh, that person's not in my wheelhouse. Maybe they're a little bit too easy for me, and I can send them back to you. You also make a friend and a client where they say, wow, I really respect the fact that you don't feel confident enough to work with me, but you have somebody that can help me. I'm going to send you my friend who is a little bit less complicated than me. And so now you've developed two relationships. You've developed really good word of mouth and a great deal of respect among those people that you seek to work with. Finally, what I would say is that regardless of where you are, you want to try to remain the student. So you're not stuck at your level of qualification. You're not stuck with your current level of capabilities. But you must deepen your understanding, you must gain knowledge, and you must gain experience. There's a great story about Kirk Hammett. If you're a Metallica fan, you know who Kirk is. He's the guitar player for Metallica. And when he first joined Metallica, he thought he wasn't good enough. So think about this. Arguably, at the time, one of the most popular rock bands in the world. He's the lead guitar player, and he doesn't think he's good enough. So what he did is he hired Joe Satriani, who is another amazing guitar player, as his teacher. And so Joe challenged Kirk to actually get better. So we all have to go there. Regardless of our level, we must always try to remain a student. That's one of the reasons why Mike Robertson and I have iFast University. So we're trying to help pros get to the next level. We're trying to improve all of their understanding, their capabilities, and their ability to execute. It's why I work with mentees all over the world. Really, it's kind of weird. The internet made the world a small place. So I'm apparently now very popular in Europe, which is kind of fun. But again, that's why I work with those people one-on-one. It's that they're already experienced, they already have some capabilities, and they want to get better. Another great example is Austin, who was just recently my iFast fellow in the Purple Room, and he was also a gym intern. So he truly humbled himself. He said, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't confident in these certain areas. And so he took it upon himself to find ways to make himself better by going through our internship programs. Again, it's like understand who you are, have some self-awareness, recognize what your strengths are, and emphasize those. Only work within those realms where you feel the greatest level of confidence and experience the greatest level of success. But don't rest on your laurels. You can always get better. You can always expand what those capabilities are and eventually work with a much broader clientele. That should be what guides you in your process, whether we're talking about online assessments or assessments in person. So hopefully that lends you a little bit of understanding and some useful knowledge, and then we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.